Thank you so much for joining us today. I'll be answering the question, why did Jesus wear dreadlocks? Dreadlock is identified with Rastafarianism. Rastafarianism began after the cross-Atlantic trade. Some people call it slave trade. But it wasn't really slave trade because it was regular people like you and I that were enslaved and sold. So when these people were maltreated, they felt we cannot be worshiping the same God with these people. We cannot be serving the same God. So many of them went to Islam. Many of them went into other religions. So for some of them, they believed there was a prophecy that a black person, an African, will become a king. And so when His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie, was crowned the Emperor of Ethiopia, many believed it was a fulfillment of prophecy. And then they began to start their religion. They believed that the Messiah has returned. And then one day, they will cross the ocean again, come back, they call the place Babylon, come back from Babylon into the promised land, and then live with the emperor. They believe that Kenya is the Zion. So when they talk about the Bible and they refer to Zion, they're not talking about the real Zion, they're talking about the Zion in Africa and all of that. So they put dreadlocks. These Rastafarians wear dreadlocks. The reason they wear it, we'll look at it from the Bible. They believe that the emperor is from the lineage of Judah, is from the Solomonic lineage. Solomon was a child of David, and David is from the tribe of Judah. So when they wear that dreadlocks, they tell you they are the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. So what they are doing is biblical. So we're going to look at it. You know, it is believed that dreadlocks are like antennas. On a television or on a radio set, you have antennas. So they believe God is always talking. His voice is always in the air. So when you have dreads, when you have these dreadlocks, you receive inspiration. It helps creativity. So you can hear better from God. Even Paul, Paul says in the Bible, he says, a man should not prophesy with his hair covered because he's blocking inspiration. That any man that prophesies with his hair covered is dishonoring his hair. He says he's a dishonor. So this inspiration, these dreadlocks give inspiration. And Samson, they'll tell you that Samson had dreads and then he was inspired of God. And when his dreads were removed, he no longer had inspiration and then he became an ordinary person, like an ordinary person. Okay, so we'll look at the reason for dreadlocks. Dreadlock came from the Bible. God spoke to Moses and then gave him instruction. In Numbers chapter 6, verse 1 to 6, it says, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when either man or woman shall separate themselves to vow a vow of a Nazarite, it is called a Nazarite vow, to separate themselves unto the Lord, he shall separate himself from wine and strong drink, and shall drink no vinegar of wine or vinegar of strong drink, neither shall he drink any liquor of grapes, nor eat moist grapes or dried. All the days of his separation he shall eat nothing that is made of vine tree, from the kernels even to the husks. Number one, if a person separates himself to a Nazarite vow, he will not take wine. Anything that is related to wine, he will not take. That's the first law. And then next, he says, all the days of the vow of his separation, there shall no razor come upon his head until the days be fulfilled, in which he separated himself unto the Lord. He shall be holy and shall let the locks of the hair of his head grow. He shall let the locks mean dreadlock. He said no razor should come up on his head. Number one, no wine. Number two, no shaving of the hair. No razor will come up. And then he said, all the days that he separates himself unto the Lord, he shall come at no dead body. No wine, no razor will not come at dead body. So these things were what the Nazarite vow was about. A man that was separating himself. Those days, holy men of God separated themselves and took these vows. It could be for a day, for a year. It could be for 5 years. It could be for 10 years. It could be for life. Some are Nazarite from birth until they live. So several prophets and holy men kept this Nazarite vow. We'll look at 3 persons that kept him. Samson kept the Nazarite vow. In Judges chapter 13, verse 3 and 5, the Bible says, behold, now thou art barren. This was an angel talking to Samson's mom. And bearest not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son. Now therefore beware, I pray thee, and drink not wine, nor strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing. For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come on his head. For the child shall be a Nazarite from God unto God from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. Say he shall be a Nazarite. So Samson had dreads. He left his dreads to grow. He didn't put razor on his head. In Judges chapter 16, verse 13, he was speaking to Delilah, and he said unto her, if thou weavest the 7 locks on my head with the web. He said he had 7 locks, dreadlocks. So he was telling her the secret to his power, to his inspiration. So Samson kept dreads. Now another prophet that kept dreadlock was Prophet Samuel. Hannah, the mother of Samuel, prayed and made a vow on behalf of Samuel. He made a vow and then put Samuel in the Nazarite vow. In 1 Samuel chapter 1 verse 11. And she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou will indeed look on the affliction of thy handmaid, and remember me, and not forget thy handmaid, but will give unto thy handmaid a man child. See, she says she wanted a male child. Then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. So Samuel was a Nazarite and kept dreadlocks from his days from his mother's womb until the end of his life. So he was a Nazarite for life. Another prophet was Ezekiel. Ezekiel kept dreadlock. In Ezekiel chapter 8 verse 3, the Bible says, and he put forth the form of an hand and took me by a lock of my head. And the Spirit lifted me up between the earth and the heaven and brought me in the visions of God unto Jerusalem. So most prophets in Israel kept dreadlocks. It was known when they separate themselves, they keep dreadlocks, and most of them were for life. Jonah had dreadlock. Most of the prophets had dreadlocks. Prophet Elisha was bald. And it was in the custom. Most of the prophets kept dreadlocks. So he was bald. And some people, some children, some youths, they were not really children, they were youths. They began to insult him. They said, go up, leave this place, thou bald-headed. He said, you are not even really a prophet. Why do you have bald head? And he crushed them in the name of the Lord. And 2 she-bears came out of the woods and devoured 42 of them. So he was actually a prophet, but he was bald. So it wasn't a law that every prophet must have locks. Okay, so over in the New Testament, John the Baptist kept the Nazarite vow. He had dreadlocks and he kept this Nazarite vow. In Luke chapter 1 verse 15, an angel spoke to Zechariah and he said about John, he said, for he shall be great in the sight of the Lord and shall drink neither wine nor strong drink, and he shall be filled with the Holy Ghost even from his mother's womb. So he had this Nazarite vow and then he allowed the locks of his hair to grow. And then also Paul, there was a time Paul kept a vow. It was a Nazarite vow. Paul is a Christian, but he was a Jew also, and he understood the Nazarite vow, and then Paul kept it. If you look at Acts chapter 18, verse 18, it says, and Paul, after this, tarried there yet a good while, and then took his leave of the brethren, and sailed thence unto Syria, and with him Priscilla and Aquila, having shorn his head in Cenchrea, for he had a vow. He had made a Nazarite vow for a while. And then when he came to Cenchrea, he finished the vow and then cut his hair. The Nazarite vow, what Moses told them in Numbers chapter 6, he said when a man keeps this vow, it could be for a number of years. When he's done, he will come to the temple. He doesn't just cut his hair like Paul did. He will come to the temple, do some sacrifices, they will shave his hair, and then burn those hair. But later on, they said some people could be very far, and the vow will complete. So they can shave their hair over there, and then when they come to Jerusalem, they will do the sacrifices. So Paul was heading to Jerusalem. So he shaved his hair, and then when he got to Jerusalem, he did the other purification of this Nazarite vow. In Acts chapter 21, in verse 23 and 24, when Paul got to Jerusalem, the brethren told him, the disciples told him, he said, do therefore this that we say unto thee. He said, this is what you should do. We have 4 men which have a vow on them. We have 4 men also that have a Nazarite vow on them. Take them and purify thyself with them. This was Paul. And be at charges with them, that they may shave their heads. They'll go to the temple and shave their heads and do as they're supposed to do. And all may know that those things whereof they were informed concerning thee are nothing. But that thou thyself also walkest orderly, that you understand the law and keepest the law. So Paul did this for a while. He kept that vow, Nazarite vow. The vow comes with certain consecration and then it follows the blessing. In Numbers chapter 6, if you look at the end of it from verse 22, it begins to talk about the blessing. So there's the consecration, the vow, the Nazarite vow, and then it follows with a blessing. God spoke about the blessing. So what about Jesus? Did Jesus keep dreadlocks? Did he keep this Nazarite vow? And if he did, what was the reason? There are 2 important things we'll consider. In Matthew chapter 2, verse 22, the Bible said, and he came and dwelt in a city called Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophets. He shall be called a Nazarene. So number 1, Jesus was in the place and he was called a Nazarene, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Number 2, the Bible recorded that Jesus kept beards. Most of the preachers today are clean shaved. They just cut their hair like the way I'm cut. But Jesus didn't cut his hair like this. Jesus kept beards. He was bearded. In Isaiah chapter 50 verse 6, it was talking about the passions of Christ, the crucifixion of Christ. He said, I gave my back to the smiters, and my cheeks to them that plucked off the hair, plucked off the beard. So Jesus had beards you could hold and pull. So he was keeping beards. So it is recorded that Jesus kept beards. He was not clean shaven. So what about the hair on his head? What kind of hair did Jesus keep? Number one, Jesus was called a Nazarene. A Nazarene was somebody from the area of Nazareth. It didn't mean he was a Nazarite. Nazarite vow is different from being a Nazarene. They sound similar, but they are not the same thing. So that a person is from the area of Nazareth doesn't mean he's keeping the Nazarite vow. So being from Nazareth or a Nazarene did not indicate that one kept the Nazarite vow. So this is not an indication that Jesus kept the Nazarite vow. And then number two, the instruction given to Zechariah was not given to Joseph or Mary. Nothing was given about Jesus Christ. The angel didn't tell them he shouldn't take wine, no result should go upon his head. There was no instruction given. So we cannot infer that Jesus kept dreadlocks. And then number three, there is no record in the Bible about the kind of hair Jesus kept. So there is no record at all. Paul said in 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 16, wherefore henceforth know we no man after the flesh. Yea, though we have known Christ after the flesh, yet now, henceforth, we know him no more after the flesh. For if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. All things are passed away, and behold, all things are become new. So there is no record that Jesus kept a Nazarite vow. Paul kept that vow for a while. John the Baptist kept it. And many Christians understand that and they keep it. One thing with Paul was this. Paul was a Pharisee. He was not a Gentile believer. He had a ministry to the Gentile, but he was a Jew and a Pharisee. So there are certain things he understood and there are certain things he did. I cannot talk about that today, but when he went to Israel, to Jerusalem, they told him certain things. So there is a way Christianity goes. We don't understand everything. We don't know everything, you know. So there are certain things we are still learning. But there is no record that Jesus kept a Nazarite vow. There is no record that Jesus kept dreadlock. He might have not. Thank you so much for watching. Click like, subscribe this video, and watch out. Next time we're having some other videos, and then you join us. Thank you so much. And before you leave, I'll pray for you. The blessing that follow in Numbers chapter 6, the blessing that follow in 22, God told them after the vow, he said, this is how you should put the name of God on the people. He said, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift his countenance upon you and give you peace, give you shalom. God bless you. I'll be coming your way some other time. I love you. Take care.